terrifying break-in spree that shook Franklin Township, a town in fear. In 2023, Franklin Township, located on the southeast side of Indiana, was gripped with fear as news of a string of break-ins spread like wildfire. Over 24 homes and cars had been ransacked in less than a week, leaving thousands of residents terrified to leave their houses. But one particular burglary stood out, sending shivers down everyone's spine. On the morning of Tuesday, July 13th, Carla Wilson woke up expecting another normal day. But as she went about her routine, she noticed something strange. Her jewelry was missing. Confused, she searched her house, trying to recall if she had misplaced it. That's when her heart sank. Her front door was slightly open. She rushed to check her Ring camera footage from the night before. What she saw made her blood run cold. A hooded man with a beard had been lurking in her garage in the dead of night, moving with precision, as if he had done this many times before. A calculated heist. Upon reviewing the footage and recalling past incidents, it became clear how the thief gained entry. A few days earlier, he had broken into Carla's family car parked outside and stolen the garage door opener. With it, he had easy access to her garage. Once inside, the man searched her garage for valuables, stealing money, an iPhone, and a pair of sunglasses from her second car. But he wasn't done. He grabbed a can of WD-40 from Carla's garage and sprayed it along the side of the door leading into her house to ensure it wouldn't squeak when he entered. With eerie confidence, the burglar picked the lock and stepped inside Carla's home. A sleeping victim, the intruder walked straight into Carla's bedroom and found her fast asleep. Instead of panicking, he calmly strolled into the living room and began collecting valuables, pocketing multiple pieces of jewelry, including Carla's cherished diamond ring. For 7 minutes, the thief moved freely around the house, completely unfazed. Then, he casually walked out the front door and disappeared into the night, never to return. When the police reviewed the footage, they were disturbed by how methodical the burglar was. He had taken every precaution, even ensuring the door wouldn't make a sound. This led investigators to suspect he was responsible for the entire series of break-ins plaguing Franklin Township. Though Carla was left shaken by the discovery, she was lucky. The intruder could have done much worse. But what was even scarier? Despite dozens of successful burglaries, this man was never caught. To this day, his identity remains unknown. On June 18, 2017, Jeff D. came home from work at 3:45 a.m. to find a nightmare waiting for him. His house had been ransacked, and his belongings were in complete disarray. Unlike a typical break-in, the intruder had done something bizarre. He hadn't stolen valuables. Instead, he had thrown things around, broken furniture, and even helped himself to food from the fridge. As Jeff walked through his destroyed home, he documented the chaos on video.
I came home from work today. Today is the morning of the 18th of June 2017. Someone broke in to the house and just started destroying things. Now, they evidently slept on the couch, got the Kool-Aid out of the refrigerator. I'm not touching anything until the police get here. If I don't know if they're going to do any fingerprints or anything. I'm trying to figure out, they just started throwing things and breaking them. It doesn't look like they were stealing a lot of things. Here's firewood that they used. I mean, there are so many things here they could have stolen, and all they did was break stuff.
Among the mess, he found half-eaten pizza on the floor, an open container of Kool-Aid, and even firewood the intruder had dragged inside. I don't know what they were thinking. They could have stolen so much, but all they did was break things, Jeff narrated, puzzled by the senseless destruction. But the strangest discovery was yet to come. An uninvited guest. As Jeff cautiously made his way upstairs, he turned the camera towards his bedroom. His heart nearly stopped. There, in his own bed, was a stranger fast asleep.
There is somebody sleeping in the bed in the bedroom. I don't know who it is.
A disturbing confrontation. Jeff immediately locked himself in another room and called the police. When officers arrived, they confronted the man, who seemed completely unaware of where he was.
Hands on top of your head. You got a light in here?
Wait a minute. I got a lamp over here. If you're all right with that.
What's your deal?
Oh no.
I have no idea who this is.
40 foot this way, I'm 10-15. Stand up for me.
Copy 45, type 1, test Teasers, 404 hours.
He denied being under the influence of drugs, but evidence suggested otherwise. Several of Jeff's prescription bottles had been tampered with. When asked what he was doing in Jeff's house, the man simply responded, "I don't know." Authorities later identified the intruder as 39-year-old Stacy Foster from Fraser's Bottom, West Virginia. He was charged with nighttime burglary and destruction of property, placed in Western Regional Jail on a $50,000 bond. But here's where things get strange. No further details were publicly released about what happened to him after his arrest. What caused him to break into a random home, trash the place, and sleep in a stranger's bed? The mystery remains unsolved. On the night of Monday, July 25, 2016, a Chicago couple, Jack McErer and his girlfriend Jordan Burkis, returned home from dinner and fell asleep watching TV on their couch. It was a typical evening until the next morning when Jordan realized her purse was missing. A small argument ensued, with Jack insisting she must have left it at the restaurant. To settle the dispute, they checked their home surveillance footage, and what they found was bone-chilling. At 3:30 a.m., an unknown man appeared at the top of their staircase, looking down at them as they slept. The intruder had entered through their unlocked front door, walked right past them, and silently crept upstairs. For an agonizing 4 minutes, he stood motionless, watching them sleep. Strangely, he moved so silently that even the couple's 2 dogs, who were curled up at their feet, didn't stir. After reviewing the footage, they immediately called the police. The authorities suspected the same man was behind a series of burglaries in the neighborhood. Soon after, residents shared photos online of a mysterious figure riding through alleys on a bike, attempting to break into homes. But despite the eerie footage and neighborhood-wide panic, the intruder was never caught. In November 2015, a home in Flushing, Queens, became the center of a terrifying break-in. Late at night, security cameras captured an unsettling sight: a man in a black cap with the word diamond on it sneaking into a 4-bedroom home through an unlocked back door. The footage showed him creeping around the house, tiptoeing to avoid detection. Then, in a nightmarish twist, he dropped to his hands and knees and began crawling on the floor, a knife clenched between his teeth. The homeowners were asleep in that very room. As he slithered across the floor, he snatched a cell phone from a nearby dresser. But then he made a mistake. The homeowner woke up and spotted him. In an instant, the man leaped up and ran, disappearing into the night. Police released descriptions, identifying the suspect as 6 feet 2 inches and 200 pounds, but despite the disturbing footage, he was never found. On Thanksgiving morning in 2020, in Raynor, Washington, Joey Archer, his wife Beth, and their 2 daughters woke up to the sound of their doorbell ringing frantically at 6:30 a.m. Joey rushed to the door, assuming it was a neighbor. But Beth checked the security cameras, and what she saw was terrifying. A bearded stranger was in their driveway, wielding a shovel and trying to break into their car. As Beth screamed for their daughters to jump out the window and hide in the barn, the intruder turned his attention to the house. He began smashing their front door with the shovel, shattering the glass. Realizing they were in imminent danger, Joey ripped the shovel from the man's hands and hit him twice over the head, chasing him into the yard. When police arrived, they arrested the man and charged him with residential burglary, trespassing, and vehicle prowling. The Archers later found out the intruder had been lurking on their property for over 30 minutes before they woke up rummaging through their garage, stealing a car, and crashing it into a ditch. After the terrifying ordeal, Joey took no chances. He upgraded their security system, bought a shotgun and pistol, and warned neighbors to stay vigilant. In March 2019, security cameras in a Bronx apartment recorded a man sneaking into a baby's nursery while a 2-month-old infant slept peacefully in her crib. The intruder rummaged through the room, seemingly unaware or unconcerned that he was mere inches away from a defenseless child. The baby's father, a 32-year-old man, was in the next room. As he stirred, the burglar fled, but not before breaking into another apartment on a different floor. This time, he successfully stole jewelry, a bicycle, and a backpack. Authorities later discovered he entered both apartments through unsecured fire escape windows. Despite clear footage of his face and a Crime Stoppers alert, the burglar was never caught. Stay safe, lock your doors. These terrifying cases prove just how bold and fearless some intruders can be. From standing over sleeping victims to crawling across the floor with a knife, these criminals were moments away from turning break-ins into something far worse. If there's one lesson to learn from these stories, it's this: always lock your doors and secure your windows, because you never know who might be watching.